event that turns and regulates the temperature depending on whether it's too hot or too humid using these concepts. And here's another picture. And this is where it would go. You can see where the event would go. It uses nature's design, inventions, heuristics, and domain-specific principles. Here are the heuristics that we used. You can see that we played with the structure. We distorted the structure. Also, we played with control mechanisms. We added a tipping point. These are the different things that we used in here, and it was very quick. I designed this in about 90 minutes. Now let's have an example of how we can use this in my family. We actually made a mock-up of this, the animator's village, and we did it with my family at home. So we looked at a blender, and what can we do to a blender? For an example, well, you have a cutting blade. It's pretty simple. But what if you wanted to do two things at once? What if you want to create one of these, a smoothie with whipped cream on top? So our idea is to have, this is what we came up with. You can see on top, the pink paddle does not move, but the food on the bottom here rotates from the blade below, and this spins the black cup on the top. So the cup spins instead of the paddle spinning, and that mixes the whipped cream. And it's very gentle because it's not a direct connection. It's kind of like an automatic transmission clutch in the automatic torque converter in an automatic transmission. And so you have the cream that's spinning slowly, it's turning to whipped cream, and the bottom has the hard cutting, and so it's very smooth. So we played with the motion, we reversed. Instead of having the pedal spin, we had the cup spin. We separated them. You can see that we used a proxy, so the blades rotate the container to get the food instead of the blade spinning itself. The proxy is the food. Also, we used nesting one inside of the other. And isolating, we moved the whipped cream part away from the rest of the blender. So that's a simple idea, a basic concept of how you can use this. And here's a very basic prototype doing it, showing how this would work. So you can see here, you have the villagers, the friendly villagers that are happy to share their knowledge, and the treasures in their shops. And here are some of the cards, the note cards with the different ideas, play with structure, phase, space, etc. And here are some of the biomimicry, the examples from nature that you can use. See here the capillary reaction from a hummingbird. And here's the whole board, the basic prototype of what this structure of this environment might look like. Of course, this is very basic, and it will be much bigger once we finalize it. So now we'll talk a bit about how teenagers have a vast untapped capacity to invent. Here's the graph, and it shows Piaget's highest stage of reasoning. So this basically means that within this age range, between 10 and 20, the teenagers are able to reason. They're able to reach a very high level of reasoning. And so kids are very intelligent. Of course, that doesn't mean that they have, they're like responsible or they're very knowledgeable, but they can reason well. And also, this is how I see responsibility. When people are very young, they don't have many responsibilities. But once they reach 18, all of a sudden they have tons of responsibilities. They go to college, start a family, get a job, and then care for their parents. But in between this time, there's huge potential because they have lots of free time. They don't have lots of responsibilities. They have the resources of their other fellow classmates, teachers, other mentors, their parents. And so I see great potential there. And I think that we need to have teenagers help us to solve problems because they have a great untapped potential here. And to me, it's kind of like, this is a way of showing the waste of potential. It's like using a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce to deliver pizza. They have great potential, but we're not using it. So in summary, I think that invention and innovation can be taught. Being creative is not just something that you're born with. It's something that can be fostered and that you can help someone attain. It can also be deliberate. Invention doesn't have to be something that just inspires you and then you come up with it. I think that you can deliberately sit down and create a new